Parenting through addiction?
Parenting through addiction.
Okay. All right.
All right, here we are in sunny Florida.
Okay, live on 2 cameras at once. Okay. So thanks so much for joining us. This is Reach Out Recovery's YouTube channel live and Facebook. Reach Out Recovery is a website and small book publisher. We specialize in recovery, wellness, and relationships, family healing, and of course, we've gotten into parenting and relationships because of our line of books. So, today we're going to be talking about parenting addicts because this is something we happen to know a lot about. So, as everybody knows, parenting is tough enough, but parenting an addicted child, well, that can feel like riding a roller coaster blindfolded with no seatbelt. Today we're going to talk about how to love your child while keeping your own sanity, dignity, and hope intact. So,
Hi everyone, I'm Leslie Glass, best-selling author of the mother-daughter relationship Makeover and host of the radio show Overcoming Family. Thank you so much for being here. This space is for parents, grandparents, and loved ones who feel the heavy weight of addiction in the family. And as Lindsay said, this is Lindsay Glass, my daughter, and as Lindsay said, this is something we know a lot about because we've been through it ourselves.
So, we're going to go through this in a couple of different segments, and the first thing we really want to talk about is what parents are going through who are dealing with a child who is addicted, and this is also for grandparents who are taking care of their children's children because maybe their children are not in a position to be able to take care of their own children. So there is kind of a mix of emotions that parents who are dealing with these issues feel. And it ranges from fear to guilt to anger and hopelessness, helplessness, everything under the sun in that spectrum. But let's get into the specifics because we want you to understand that you're not alone and these are very common phenomena. So first of all, parenting an addict is scary, right?
Yes, and I want to say that parenting your children at different ages is different. It's
Right.
quite different. So you might behave differently if you're the parent of teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, and on. But first of all, I want to talk about the emotion of fear, and that is the thing that parents feel the most. They're afraid that their children, whatever age they are, could be hurt. They could overdose. They could be in the car with someone else who's using. They could be taking your stuff. They could be taking your money. They could be using your drugs, your alcohol. They could be taking your car. If you have girls, you have other fears about what can happen to them. So, you know.
There are a lot of things to worry about. The other thing, I don't know if other people are seeing this, but we are seeing drugs for, actually we can't say that word. We are seeing substances for sale on the internet. So we own a recovery site and a recovery social media pages, and we are still being marketed substances online that they say they will mail straight to our house. So this is another big thing because all you really have to do is click on the website that you're over 18.
Yeah.
There are no real stops for people who might be under 18. So how do you feel about that? That, you know, it was bad enough in the 90s when I could order this stuff to the house in the apartment, but now you don't even need to know somebody. You just need to be able to go online.
Online. Well, I think that the issue with that is when you go online, whatever it is that you're ordering, you have no idea what's in it. So we know of a young person who perished recently because he thought he was buying Xanax and it was laced with fentanyl, and had an overdose at home.
But even beyond that, these are, and you can't say the name.
What did I say? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have to say substances.
Okay, it was a substance that was purchased online.
But this is stuff that's coming up on social media apps.
Yeah.
That seems, so this isn't even like they're being advertised by schmug drillers on TikTok. This is straight up companies advertising. So I think you have to be really rigorous.
Yes.
Whether your kid is a young adult or a teen, to be looking at what they're looking at, and even maybe looking at the packages that are coming to your house, to make sure that you're on top of this one, because this is new, that we just started seeing this. So yeah, I want to go back to the fear over girls also. We know from our work that girls metabolize schmalcohol and substances differently than boys. So often girls can be quite at risk when they're out there, whether they're partying at parties or worse, at nightclubs, and you don't know where they are.
Yes. Well, it was interesting, you know, the last live we were on, Lindsay kept saying schmalcohol. I had no idea why she was saying that. So now I understand, that there are certain things that we just can't say. Very concerning about girls, because we have taught in high schools where the teachers don't know that girls process schmalcohol at a different rate from boys, and therefore they may be impaired a lot sooner, and that puts them at risk.
So it's very, very important, if you have girls, if you're worried about your girls, to talk to them and show them the facts and the statistics about what's going on, and come from a place of, you know, not that you're angry at them, but really you have a concern for their well-being while they're out there. It's funny, we were talking a little bit earlier about this, and I said to Leslie, I said, you know, did you feel guilty during those years of parenting? And what was your answer?
No, I didn't feel guilty at that time, because when I had teens who were experimenting with substances and schmalcohol, I was drinking every night myself. I was having a drink at 5 o'clock every night myself, and I didn't think that my young people were at risk. And I think the issue is that a certain percentage of young people are going to become addicts if they start using, and we don't know which ones will and which ones won't. So parents and their own use can influence their children whether to use or not to use, or, you know, how to run their life.
But you said something very interesting after that. You said, I didn't feel guilty, I felt angry. What were you angry about?
I was angry about the secrecy. I was angry because I was unable to reach my young people. I didn't know how to talk about it, and I didn't know how to get my young people to trust me. And I was very angry. I was angry because so often my own life was interfered with because someone was in trouble. Someone was in trouble. There was a car accident. There was, somebody was in the hospital on my birthday.
It's chaos.
It's chaos all the time, and you have to be angry because why is this happening? Why is this happening?
But then we were talking about the fact that if you are angry and you act with anger towards a kid that's going down this path, the first thing the kid is going to do is shut down and stop telling you anything.
Well, the other thing is, Lindsay, young people and old people and people of every age don't want to be told what to do.
Right.
So you have to be able to find a way that you can have conversations without being angry, without being judgmental, and without showing, not showing your fear or your guilt, you know.
So the other big one is the hopeless, helpless phenomenon, which makes perfect sense. You've got somebody, they're not doing well, you're worried about them, you're scared bad things are happening to them, bad things might be happening to them, and you have to endure it without really being able to do much in some situations. So, did you feel helpless?
I did, and I think it's important here to say you can feel more in control if you have a team in your family that is addressing it and you're all on the same page. If you have a parent who's saying, oh, everything's fine, this is fine, oh, a little schmarijuana, a little whatever of this is not going to be a problem, and you know it's a problem, then you're going to feel helpless because you're not a team that can work on it.
So I actually don't want to wait in case people don't stay on. I want to tell you what the tips are for a parent who feels helpless or hopeless, and that is join recovery groups, get involved with Al-Anon, talk to professionals, talk to addiction professionals. The best thing you can do is talk to people who are in the same situation, who have been through it before. They have experience, strength, and hope to give, or professionals who can give you sage and experienced advice on what your best actions can be and what the consequences can be if the child is not listening to you. So that was the first thing. We wanted to normalize anything you're going through. You're not failing, you're a human. And if you are walking on eggshells in your own home because of an addict in the house, that is very, very normal. And the best thing you can do is look for support from the right places. If the people in the family or the people in your life aren't giving you the right support, talk to the people who can give you the right kind of support. Okay, so section 2, what are we talking about?
We're talking about the difference between helping and enabling. Helping is the idea of, dealing with the situation, being open about it, and finding solutions.
So, an example, driving your child to therapy or 12-step meetings is a supportive, helping.
Well, we have to get to the idea that if you have a teen who's using, you have to be able to acknowledge that this is happening.
Yes.
So before you get to that place where you're offering therapy or you're thinking about changing schools or you're planning after school programs or all of those sorts of things, you may have to have an intervention either with family members or a professional to say, look, you need help, we need to do something about this and do it now. Because remember, if you have teens, young people, you still have influence over them, and once they're out of your house, you're gonna have less influence. So when we get into recovery, here are the things that parents can do.
Okay, very good. So enabling is very, very common. It often happens very naturally in a dysfunctional family. Something's going wrong. You have somebody who's getting into bad behaviors. They want you to lie for them. They want to borrow money. They want all kinds of things. And at the beginning, you really do feel like you're helping them, but it is enabling. So enabling means removing consequences or rescuing your child from situations that their addiction created. It often comes from love, fear, or guilt, but it unintentionally allows the addiction to continue. So examples of enabling kind of would be looking the other way and continuing to give somebody money when you know it may be going to bad places, or
if you know someone is impaired through using substances. I remember I used to walk on my young adult's dog. I used to clean the apartment because that person couldn't do it. So giving them money and knowing them that it might go to drugs and alcohol, that's really, are you gonna do that or not?
You said something interesting to me once. You said if somebody's asking you to lie to me about what you're doing, where you're going, that's not a good thing. And it's true. If you have to lie to a parent about anything that you're doing, or somebody is asking you to, that's a very questionable situation. You might want to think twice about that. And certainly repeatedly bailing somebody out of jail, getting them out of trouble, these are all things that in the moment so many parents think, well, I'm saving their future, I'm saving whatever, but in some cases, if you keep taking away the accountability, it's very, very tough to learn.
Yeah, paying their rent after they've been irresponsible. Yes, letting them off the hook.
So, okay, the next segment we want to talk about is, it's an interesting thing. If you find drugs or think your kid is using, we just want to give some tips because it couldn't be a more uncomfortable situation for a lot of people. So, first of all, how do you want to talk to somebody that is?
Well, you certainly don't want to tell a person that they're ruining their lives. I don't think you want to tell them they're going to go to jail. I think you want to say something like, I found something in your room that really worries me, can we talk about it? Or where did you get this?
You said something really, really important earlier, and I want you to repeat that.
Okay, I think that, that teens who begin to use, become more and more secretive because they know their parents are gonna be mad. And it's critical to know that you still have a lot of influence over your children, your kids who are under 18. They listen to you, they love you, they want to love you, and they want your approval. So I think,
But it goes beyond that. I don't think it's that at all. You still have rights over them.
you have rights, well,
They are
that's
not 18 years old. You have a right to say what the behavior is that's going to go on in your house. You have a right to impose consequences.
yes.
I don't think it's about whether you love them or they love you. I think it's about this child is under 18. It's your
I was just
responsibility.
talking about, there are two issues here. One is the emotional component of it,
Right.
which is kids want to be good. They don't want to be bad.
I don't
and-
know if all kids do.
Oh,
I think you have an addict. You have somebody who
Well,
may be well beyond.
well, at that point, yes. So if you have someone who you know is an addict, they don't care what you think.
So yeah.
But let's reiterate that this is an extremely complicated situation.
Yeah, but we'll go back to you found some drugs in the room. I think you don't want to freak out. I think you want to be really serious, but you want to start with questions and find out what's going on. Where did these come from?
Investigate.
Yeah.
Investigate who are their friends, where is it coming from, what's happening in school, and then you can really think about solutions.
But I will say this. If you get something along the lines of, or oh, it's not mine, or I'm holding it for a friend,
Oh, yeah.
or I don't know how those got there, those are things that I think you need to take very, very seriously, because that is, I don't know, I almost don't know what's worse. Are they yours, or are you holding them for somebody and risking getting in trouble and letting someone else get hurt? Like, they're both really bad decisions to make. So, you got to be real careful with the excuses and not let that be a deterrent from having these conversations or real consequences.
And also, I think that if you're very concerned about, you can start drug testing your kid, which is something that I would definitely do.
Yes.
There are at-home kinds of drug testing that you can do, smug testing.
So you always want to remember that if you actually catch your child intoxicated or in danger, you have to prioritize safety first. So this is not the moment to get into the conversation. This is the moment to make sure that everyone is safe and wait until everybody is in a sober mindset and able to talk about it.
Yeah, and not the moment to show your rage.
The other thing is, if there are siblings or younger kids in the house, this is another huge thing. We have heard stories over the years of little kids getting injured or worse because of substances in the house that belong to a sibling. This is about as big a tragedy as can happen. So that is another thing that you can be really clear about with your kid. You are endangering other people in this house. Okay, so you're a parent. Maybe you have no experience with this. Maybe you were somebody who didn't experiment with any of these things, and you don't even know what you found. So what's the first thing you do?
You educate yourself.
That's right.
I mean, what I see on Facebook all the time is an image of something, and the question is, I found this in my child's room. What is it? So, I mean, I wouldn't ask Facebook. I would do some deep education about what different substances are and what kids in the school are using, and and get to know about it, and also, you will not be as afraid when you are in control of information. You also want to educate your kids about what these substances are and what they do to your brain.
Yeah. Okay. So you educate yourself about what's going on.
Absolutely.
You see where the kid is at, and then you set clear expectations. And you have to decide what's right for you and your family based on who's in the house, based on your own values. But a lot of things you can do are say these, I don't allow this in my home, or I will test you if you, if I'm concerned. I can take away your allowance. I can do whatever I have to do to keep you safe. while you are under my care. So this is really important. Do not set consequences you can't keep.
Right. So if you're going to take away their devices, if you're going to not lend them your car, they have cars and you want to make sure that they can't use them. I mean, I certainly know parents after their kid has been arrested that they let them have the consequences.
So consequences are important. You have to keep them, but on the same side of that, you have to clarify your support. Let the kid know, I will support you if you find healthier ways to cope. I will support you in any recovery methods you want to do. And one of the reasons I'm so grateful to my parents throughout my own journey was there was nothing they would not let me do for my own recovery. I wanted to go play with horses, I could go play with horses. I wanted to go to Arizona and get treatment there, I was able to go to Arizona. So knowing that your parents are going to be there to support and help in any ways that they can was, not only valuable to my recovery, but to my self-esteem.
Mm. Self-esteem is very important because often there is so much shame associated and accompanying substance use for teens, especially for teens. All right, so next step is to encourage professional help. And I think that the first thing that you do is get together as a family and determine that you are going to support your child, mother, father, teens, aunts, uncles. Talk to a counselor, a doctor, or an addiction specialist. I believe that there should be an assessment by a professional. And that may be a doctor, because you want to find out what else is going on.
I agree.
I think that it's very important for the parents to go to the first appointment and basically kind of work as a team here.
You went with me.
Of course I did.
You and Dad went with me.
I think there was a moment where they kicked me out of the room because you were.
No.
I was there the whole time.
You were there with that doctor in New York City before I went to Sierra Tucson.
I think it's very important to remind your children that you're on their team. You want them to be healthy. That help is available and recovery is possible. And I think one of the problems that we had going back was that we didn't know recovery was possible. We didn't know that addiction was something that was more than a 30-day enterprise, and that we needed to be on board for a long time. So.
Oh, that's a really good point. As you do your educating yourself about what the issues are with your child, what they're using, what they may be going through, if they have anxiety or depression that are contributing, you really want to consider what the recovery time is for all of these things. It's no longer 30 days and you're fixed. If somebody is struggling with depression or anxiety, that's a lifelong struggle. Recovery from addiction or alcoholism is a lifetime journey, so you really want to prepare yourself for what's going to be going on. And to that note, that brings us to a very, very important section, which is the reason programs like Al-Anon exist is because the parent of somebody who is struggling needs as much support as the person who is struggling. And often you're sitting there and you're just worrying about this kid, and without realizing it, it's actually making you more and more unhealthy too.
Well, I want to add something to that because you talked about the guilt and the anger that I felt when I had a teen and a young adult who was using. I think it was really important for me to listen to Lindsay, and Lindsay was the one who sent me to Al-Anon. So when I went to Al-Anon, I really learned that I was not alone, that I had resources, and that there were other people who were experiencing what I was experiencing. And I really think that part of our recovery journey was the fact that we were in it together. We were working on this together.
Absolutely. So recovery groups, therapy, support groups, journaling, taking care of your physical health, taking care of your spiritual health our whole business, our self-help books. This is a 12-step coloring book. This is a life skill guide. This is the teen guide to health. If you realize you have one child in trouble, you have a younger child at home, I would get that book immediately. We will link them at the bottom of this video. But these are your tools. This is your toolkit to getting through these moments. The books, the activities, the journaling that will give you the comfort, the clarity, and the recovery that will help you get through this. So you have to really remember you can't rescue somebody.
Well, that we haven't really talked that much about rescuing, but it's one of the things that you really have to learn is that addiction is the only disease that tells you you don't have a disease. So that's what you're fighting every single day. You're fighting that idea that comes into your addict's head that I'm not an addict. I'm really okay. I can be doing this, or I can go back to this. That's the relapse issue. So it's an ongoing lifestyle that we talk about ourselves.
Absolutely, and you want to build a support network.
Right.
Whatever that looks like. So it's the literature, it's the meetings, it's the trusted friends, it's anybody who can be there for you, pick up the phone, take your calls, send you gratitude lists, and be there for you. So I want you to ask yourself, what have you done for yourself lately? And if you can't think of anything, this is the moment to think of something that you can do for yourself, even if it's small, because finding that one moment of peace throughout the day, that's your goal right now.
Mm-hmm.
To find that one pleasurable moment throughout the day, whether you're eating something you like, or the sun's on your face, or you're watching something that's making you laugh, but you will be better if you can find a few moments of relief throughout your day from all of this. Okay. So in the last thing we're going to do is we're just going to share that, you have to have hope. How many stories do we know of people who have recovered?
Tens of thousands. Millions.
How many mothers and daughters and families out there are doing things like what we're doing? Well, no one's just like us, but...
Families restored, trust restored.
Yep.
Being a productive human.
Yep.
Serving others. Often people who are in recovery are the first people who start serving others, and we love that because we think advocacy and service to others is one of the things that makes us healthy. It makes us healthy and happy. So go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say the recovery world is run by people in recovery, and that's why so much of it works so well. And I want to share one story, which is I had a sponsee, no longer my sponsee, but she was for a long time, and she just struggled with a lot of different things. And I remember at times, not thinking that she wouldn't make it, but just being worried because it's just a tougher road for some people than others. And I actually just saw on Facebook, not only has she been sober for a couple of years, but she is having a baby.
Oh, that's awesome.
So those are my favorite stories. When people come together, get recovery, build a family, and are a symbol that recovery works.
I think one of the things that you always want to do with your young people who are using is ask them what kind of life they want. Ask them what their wishes and hopes are. Because if they have a past this idea of what they'd like life to be like, then it's easier. And also, it's so wonderful when your family is together. You can be together on holidays, and you're not worried about who's going to be using.
Well, if everyone's getting along.
Yeah.
But again, we just want to say we have this line of self-help books. This is Find Your True Colors in 12 Steps. This is our 12-step coloring book with journal prompts. We have our 100 Tips for Growing Up, which is our daily hybrid and tip guide. We have the Teen Guide to Health, which is social, emotional, and mental health learning for teenagers. And of course, we have our famous mother-daughter relationship makeover, 4 steps to bring back the love. The companion workbook is coming out soon. And all of these books were created to help make your life a little bit easier. So we hope you check them out. You know what? I forgot. We are going to be including our "Are you helping or are you enabling" worksheet in this in the comments. So we put together a worksheet for you specifically for this live, and it's on our website, reachoutrecovery.com, and we will link it in the comments so you can actually see, am I helping or am I enabling? So with that, Leslie, do you want to say goodbye?
No, I don't want to say goodbye. I see other things we could be talking about. Thank you for joining us today. And I want to say that my daughter, who was in recovery first, taught me all about recovery. I wouldn't have been able to go there without her. So thank you, Lindsay. Thank you for your recovery and for helping so many other people.
Thanks, Mom.
Transform.